Hello and welcome to the second part of Surviving to Thriving, where we dive into managing stress. In life, we don't just get short-term anxiety stress like in an interview, an exam, or similar. We also get long-term stressful situations from projects, long-term deadlines, increasingly worsening conditions, and more. We need to manage this, which leads to the creation of this part of Surviving to Thriving. We begin with how the human body works, focusing on how it reacts to stress. This begins by looking at the hormone called adrenaline, which can only be described as amazing. We have to accept how amazing adrenaline is, for without adrenaline, our species would have disappeared into the history of our planet's evolution due to the numerous dangerous situations in which the human race, where adrenaline actually got us to safety. Adrenaline is designed for life or death situations. The three most common responses to adrenaline are fight, flight, or freeze. Let's review these responses, starting with freeze. This is currently believed to be a response where the individual will reduce the potential for harm by playing possum, where the person will remain motionless in an effort to make the attacker lose interest and leave them alone. Fight or flight, I prefer to explain these responses through an example. Let's imagine for a moment I was trapped in the room with a tiger. Now, the average weight of a fully grown male tiger is in the region of 350 kilograms. In comparison, I only weigh a mere 80 kilograms in this very moment. No matter which way you look at it, I am in a lot of trouble being stuck in a room with a tiger. In such a scenario, adrenaline would be coursing through my body to help me in several ways. The first, I would enter a flight response, where I would become acutely aware of any potential exit through hypervigilance. Then the adrenaline would arrive in my muscles, allowing me to move as fast as possible to that very exit. Should the tiger be between me and the exit, I would transfer from flight to fight. The fight response accelerates and increases the muscles to their highest potential, as well as numbing the pain responses, enabling the person to focus on fighting instead of the damage they are receiving in the conflict. This is why many fighters start to feel pain quite a long time after the fight. Now, not many people will end up in a room with a tiger unless you're a vet, a zoologist, or you're having a very unusual safari experience. We may not end up in the room with a tiger in our modern day lives, but our minds perceive the world differently from what we actually experience. Our imaginations are the cause of this. For it has been found that the mind can often struggle to differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. Now imagine you received 10 gold bars and put them in a bank. A week later, you think, I'd like to see my shiny gold bars. You walk into the bank and ask the clerk to see your 10 gold bars. The clerk then says, We're really sorry to inform you, but we appear to have misplaced your gold bars, which means we only have 9 remaining. Would anyone be a bit pissed that they had misplaced a $250,000 gold bar? I would be furious. Despite the comprehensive awareness that adrenaline dissipates over time, I am suggesting through this analogy that it does not dissipate as quickly as we've been led to believe. Imagine that you were in the room with that tiger again. As you went to run, the adrenaline you had dissipated, leaving you with no burst of energy to get to safety. Would you be freaking out in that situation? I would be. This brings us to Formula One cars. Don't worry, it'll make sense shortly. The average combustion engine car idles, meaning when it sits still with the engine on, at around 600 to 800 RPM, revolutions per minute, and then will rev up to 6,000 RPM. A Formula One car idles at 5,000 RPM and will rev up to 15,000 RPM. Only elite sports cars can get that high. Formula One car engines will spin at nearly the highest rate of the average production car, just sitting at the start gate. Formula One cars require their entire engines to be overhauled following every race due to the amount of pressure and strain they go through during one race. Formula One cars operate at the maximum potential of the engine's capacity every race, burning themselves out in that race. We arrive at why I share such seemingly random information about Formula One cars. Adrenaline is an amazing hormone that releases the incredible potential of your body. There is records and accounts of mothers lifting cars to save their children's lives despite never lifting anything as heavy as that ever before. I'm not saying they lift the cars like the Incredible Hulk over their heads and spin them like pizza dough in one hand. Still, they are able to lift that vehicle enough for the children to crawl to safety thanks to the full potential of their muscles being released due to the adrenaline coursing through their bodies. That is how powerful adrenaline can make us. We are not designed to operate at 100% capacity all the time. We are designed to operate at 80% capacity at the maximum. When we get adrenaline released into our system, it is intended to be used. But if we are not in a situation where we can use it, for example, an exam, then we get these buildups of adrenaline in our systems. Is adrenaline in your system right now? How do we recognize if we have adrenaline in our systems? Potential signs and symptoms of buildups of adrenaline in the body are tension in the shoulders and upper back, especially between the shoulder blades. After typing excessively at your computer, your hands and fingers are shaking. Going to bed and you can't stay still. You just can't relax. Please remember, these could be possible indicators of buildups of adrenaline in the human body. But if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, please also consider seeing your medical practitioner to review. At this point, it is essential to mention that stress is recognized as one of the main exacerbators of physical and mental illnesses. I would put forward that long-term exposure to adrenaline is one of these exacerbators, which worsen physical and mental conditions due to the amount of strain it puts the mind and body through. I have good news. I have identified how to get adrenaline out of your system through processing it out of the body. Adrenaline is designed to be used, which is what we must do, which we can do most effectively through the flight response. You can process the adrenaline out of the body through physical movement, releasing you from the strain that incredible hormone places upon your system. The technique is designed around high-intensity interval training principles, HIIT for short. To do this, you go to an open space like a field or a park or a track where you can run safely. You place 2 markers at distances you can sprint at your full power, maybe 20, 30, 50 meters or more apart, as though your life depends on it. What I mean by sprinting like your life depends on it is imagine like you're running from a big scary dog, or you're trying to catch that last train home, or you're in that moment in the movie where the ground is falling away beneath you and you need a sprint to grab the ledge before you fall. After sprinting with all your energy, imagining whatever allows you to give your all, you reach the marker, you stop, you recharge, you catch your breath. When you have recovered, you sprint then again. You rest, you recover, and then sprint. You repeat until you are exhausted. Through this exercise, you begin to process the adrenaline out of your system the way it was designed to be used. Here's a warning though. This process can be cathartic, meaning that through this exercise, as you process the adrenaline out of your system, you can also start to process the emotions that cause the adrenaline in the first place. What I mean by this is that you can begin to cry or rage as you run, maybe even express the situations which led to you needing to run. For example, you begin to swear and shout your boss's name as you run, call them all the names under the sun. With this in mind, I suggest going to a place where you may not be overheard as you run. If you've ever been through any form of trauma or significant events, I recommend taking a friend or a family member with you, or someone at least you trust. So should you require support, someone is there to provide it. Now, most of you watching this video would have lived through lockdowns, where we have been unable to leave our homes for significant periods of time. In response, I've developed a way to process adrenaline out of the body, even in a small room. The technique is simple. Step 1. You place your feet apart like you're about to sprint, one foot in front of the other, with your knees a little bent. Step 2. You raise your arms like you're about to sprint, one arm forward and the other behind, bent at the elbows. Step 3. You begin to move your arms, only though, as though you were sprinting, swinging them back and forth in a running fashion. Make sure though you've got plenty of space around you to do so. And you move your arms as fast as you can for about 30 to 60 seconds each time. Step 4. You take a break, then you repeat this exercise again and again until you are exhausted, like the same as if you were doing the sprinting exercise outside. And there you have it, a simple movement you can do anywhere. You can wave your arms around, well, to process out that adrenaline out of your system. And with that, you have my approach to managing stress, which I hope serves you should you ever need it. If you did find this helpful, please do like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel. And should you know anyone who could benefit from this video, please share it. Don't forget the other Surviving to Thriving videos, which I hope can benefit you as much as this one. Finally, should you like to access a richer and more fulfilling life full of joy, happiness, love, and so much more, then I am proud to announce, after 20 years in the making, my work, The Compass, which is now available in the form of a book as well as an online program, which you will find links to in the description below this very video. Take care and ciao for now.